She likes the boop noses. Okay. Hello, welcome to KnitCheek. My name is Natalie and I'm the cheek behind KnitCheek, and I'm back. I have some things to talk about. I have a finished object, I have some works in progress, and I have a couple of acquisitions that are not knitting or crochet related, but there's that. Welcome if you're new here. I have some new subscribers. It's great to have you. This is my house. This is where I live with my two cats and Mr. Cheek. We're from Southern California. We live in a town that's real close to the San Bernardino Mountains. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about that except for it's hot right now. It's cooler in the mountains, but it's warm up there too. So usually it's a good escape for us when the weather is 80s or 90s. You can go up there and it'll still be in, mid 70s, but not right now. Right now it's hot. This is my cat, Baby Kitty. I don't know why she's being super affectionate right now, but I just want you to know I did stop. I started filming and then I stopped and I pet her for like a whole 5 minutes and she's still not done. So she may be in and out of here demanding love and affection. Her name is Little Baby Kitty and she will be 15 this fall. I also have a cat named Peaches who's 7 and I have a dog named Mikey who's 15. They're all girls. Oh, I have notes that'll help because I'm like, what do I talk about next? Here we go. For my finished object this week, I finished my Vacation Vest by Park Williams. And actually, let me tie the ties. So in the original pattern, Park uses like clasps, like the type of clasps. I don't know what they're called, hook and eye clasps maybe. And I tried that. I sewed them on and I did not like the look. It kind of gave a pulling effect because of the edging of this garment. It has like some knits and purls to give it so that it doesn't curl because it's stuck in it. And when I put the hooks on it, it pulled on it and you could like see the purls. And I think it's because my yarn doesn't have a lot of structure. But I also went on the project page and I saw that even with the yarn with structure, it still happened to some of the other people's projects, but it didn't look as sloppy as mine did. So here we go. She's all tied up there. So what I did end up doing was I just added 3 crocheted chained ties to the front of it, and it turned out really cute. It did turn out a little bit smaller than I anticipated it to. If you watched my last video, I talked about how I knit this on my trip to Italy and kind of had to re-knit it a couple of times. I had to rip back because it was too big. I knit the size small and it came out too, like the armholes were too big twice, and I didn't document what I did, but I significantly reduced the amount of stitches, I think. Did I? Yeah, I did, right? Because I didn't, this wasn't as long, the V-neck. I stopped the V-neck, I think, sooner than I should have. So it doesn't have as much positive ease as I would like. And so I'm like afraid to wash it. So I'll probably hand wash it and hand dry it so that it doesn't shrink. Because, I mean, it fits good the way that it is now, but if it was any smaller, it'd be too small. And I would have preferred to have like half an inch more positive ease in there so that it doesn't pull when I wear it. Like this part of it doesn't pull, but if it kind of moves around or something, sometimes it does kind of pull on the, I'm trying to see if I can show you what I mean. Like when it pulls like that, and then you can kind of see the purls and the knits. I don't know, it just kind of looks weird. So that is the Vacation Vest by Park Williams. And that I knit up in a Pima Baroku yarn in the color Wisteria. It's just some yarn I got from my local yarn store, Hands On Knitting Center in my local town. I'm going to link them in the description so you guys can check them out if you want to. You can always order online from them. They have a good selection. So that is a Vacation Vest by Park Williams. I already said that. I'm very excited to talk about my works in progress because I have 2 new cast-ons, and I'm going to talk about the boring one first. It's not boring, but I'm bored with it because it is the scarf number 4, and that I talked about in my last episode 7, how my gauge had turned out really wonky on the second half and it had gotten way bigger. So the second half where I'm decreasing down to the point was too big. It was like, I don't know, a third thicker than the other side. So I had calculated how much yarn. I was trying to use up the whole skein, so I like calculated how many grams I had, half and half. And so I knit to a little bit before half. So I had a little bit of leeway, and then I started decreasing and I ran out of yarn. So yeah, I ripped back to a little bit after I started decreasing, and I have cat hair all over me now. Ah! Or maybe it's this. This is like some type of alpaca wool blend. I actually don't think I know off the top of my head what this is. I know there's alpaca in it though. You see, like, look at that. So yeah, this is boring to me because I had to frog half of it, and now, I mean, it's still enjoyable to knit it, but I'm like, ugh, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want it to be done. But that's that. Living in this project bag. I always forget the name of this, but she's really well known on Tanny Casey on Instagram. But this was a recent purchase, maybe at the end of last year. I bought myself this. Okay, what am I going to talk about next? What I'm going to talk about next is living in my Delaque mesh project bag. Because my brother tried to open this up the other day because he thought there was mince in there. And it's like stitch markers, needles. Yeah. So I did that thing where, like, I almost knit a whole sock. Just out of left field. I'll try to get closer to show you that. Don't know why. I hope the beginning of this video was in focus. So yeah, this is my sock. This is how you hold the sock. So I knit a sock. Well, I'm not done with it, but I'm still just flabbergasted that I'm now one of those people who was like, oh yeah, oops, I knit a sock. I just feel like a lot of podcasters on YouTube are always just winging out socks, and I was always like, how are they doing that? How did the last episode they weren't even aware of a sock and now they have a sock? Well, now I know, because they're fast. They're fast, and they're addicting, and they're really, really portable. I am knitting this on 9-inch circulars, and I was a little afraid to do that because they're tiny, and it's no big deal. I don't have any cramping from it. I did a little bit when I was doing the ribbing. I don't know why I'm knitting this. I was just like proving to you that it's no big deal. I did get some cramping in like this finger, because I'm an English thrower, so I do that. But this finger that I use to like stabilize my left needle, I kind of cramped a little bit while doing the ribbing. But the rest of the sock, it's been no big deal. I kind of did a color, because this came in a set from a yarn dyer who no longer dyes yarn. From what I've researched on the internet, I can't seem to find any information. It was like a local, some type of event, like a local maker's market, and she was there selling her yarn, and I was like, I have to buy yarn from her, and I did, and it was a sock set. It came with like a really variegated skein, and then like a corresponding little baby variegated skein. So this is meant to do like the cuff, the heel, and the toes. I think this isn't my first sock, but this is my first ever sock with fingering weight, and my first ever sock with different colors. So I don't know if I was supposed to do the heel, because the heel wasn't really easy, actually. Like, this was easy. You just go from one color to the other. The heel, I had to break the yarn like 4 times. So I don't know if this is how I was supposed to do the heel. The different colors, I mean. And I'm also kind of afraid that I don't have enough of this to do cuff, heel, toe on both. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get down to the toe of the sock, get them on my DPNs, and then put it aside and start the next one and make sure I have enough before I do the first toe of my first sock. I probably have enough, but I'm just worried that I don't. So, I mean, I don't know if there's a lot to say. It's a sock. I cast on a sock. Will I cast on the second sock? I'm definitely going to cast on the second sock. This is from the pattern Vanilla Socks on 9-inch Circulars by the Crazy Sock Lady. And she has like a YouTube tutorial that goes along with the pattern. I didn't actually watch it. I just cast it on until I got to the heel, and then I had to watch the video because I had done a heel flap and a gusset, I think twice before, but it's been a couple years. Like I said, I knit 2 other pairs of socks, like DK weight socks. Both of them I gave away. They were not good. And I had like done them in a class. I think one I did to learn magic loop, and then the second one I did was 2 at a time, which great techniques, hi. But this is superior in my opinion. I love this. This is so easy. I take this everywhere with me. So this is living in my Delaque mesh green bag, which is just making me real happy because what I do is I stick this in my Portland Leather Goods Juliet tote, and this is like my everyday bag that I've been taking with me everywhere, and it has all my essentials, and then it also carries my socks everywhere with me. So that is where my socks live. They go everywhere with me every time I leave the house, and that is how I'm getting a lot of progress done on those socks, and I feel like I'm a sock person now. I always need to have socks. Is my phone focusing? Just making sure my phone is focusing because I don't know if it did after I was showing off my socks. So you can't do that with your poop rakes. I don't want them in my face. She loves to stretch. Yeah. But I don't want your poopy paws on me. I love you. Okay. So making sure I'm in focus. I think so. My next project I'm very excited about, and I did talk about it as an acquisition, and that's living in my, I want to say that this bag is from, I think she was called Crafty Fox, or is called, I think she still makes bags. I don't think there's a label on here. Oh yeah, there is. That Crafty Little Fox. And I've had this for like years, like 5 or 6 years. Now I have cat hair in my face. You're just stealing the show today. Like this is a show. So my next work in progress is a cast-on, which I mean it's pretty significant. I wouldn't even call this a cast anymore. I'd say this is well on its way. Like who am I? This is my Book Club cardigan. This is a pattern by Sari Nordlund. Trying to make sure it's focusing. And there's cat hair on it, of course. Why would there not be cat hair on it? Wait. So, are you gonna focus now? No. I mean, it's an iPhone, but I thought it just automatically did that. I think it always has, but today it's not. So this is my Book Club cardigan. This is the back, actually. So this is like your back of your neck, and then these are your back shoulders. So it'll, but on the back of me, so like this. And then you pick up the shoulders here, and it wraps around. I want to put a picture in because that didn't make any sense. But this is my Book Club cardigan so far. I need to just knit a bit more, and then I will be ready to pick up for my shoulder sleeves. For the shoulder, front shoulders, not the sleeves. I'm just blown away that I knit this much in the amount of time that I last talked to you. My cast on for this wasn't super smooth. I did cast it on, I think 3 times. The 3rd time I got it, but I have cabled before, but never from a chart, and I just kept getting confused by the right side right side, wrong side, going from the right to left, right. It's clear in the pattern. I just had a hard time wrapping my head around it, and I kept not doing it. But I didn't get frustrated because it's not a huge cast on. You're just casting on from here to here, so it's not that bad. So I had to do it maybe, 2 times, and then you want to come say hi? Meow, meow. This is Peaches. I can't remember if I told you about my cat Peaches, but she's 7. She's from Illinois. I found her in my family's hometown of Rockford, Illinois, and I brought her home with me. We drove 3,000 miles with this cat in the car. Come here, come say hi. And she's very, very talkative. Yeah, she's very talkative, and she's very friendly. If you came over, she'd be all over you. Okay, you can go, or you can stay. Doesn't matter to me. What else was I going to say about that? So the cast-on, I was talking about the cast-on. As far as this chart goes, it took me a while to memorize the chart, and then I still get confused with the diamonds, especially on the wrong side. I'm never quite sure, so I still have to use the chart for every row that I'm doing. But it's very addicting, and it's easy and enjoyable. And the yarn that I am using is over there. It rolled away, and my cat's in my lap. But it is Quince & Co.'s Lark in the color Gingerbread. And the last I checked, I bought all of it, so I'm sorry, but it's a really great color. I don't know what I would call this. It's like a brick red. That's what I would call it. It's like a red that has some orange in it, which is my favorite type of red. I don't own a lot of red, so this truly will be something when I'm done with it. It'll be a cardigan that I just like. I don't have anything like this, so I didn't meet Gage the first time. This yarn grew quite a bit, so I am kind of nervous about that when I knit. I'm like it says, oh, knit to 3.5 inches. I'm making up a number, and I'm like, do I seam block it to check? I don't know if I don't really know how that works. I'm assuming that patterns usually know that wool will grow, but I just don't know if it knows how well my wool will grow. And I do know per my swatch how much it grew because I measured it before and after. It doesn't have a label on it, so this is what is this to you? It's just a swatch. I don't know where I was going with this, but I guess what I'm saying, when you're reading a pattern and it says it gives you like knit to a certain point, I don't know how to adjust for, like, obviously if it was just to the end of it, I could try it on and see how long it is, block it, and then bind off or whatever. But when it's like to the point of where you're supposed to connect, I'm not sure. But I could give it a seam block before I join them, and then just make sure that it's hitting me where I want it to hit. I know, but you're so loud, and you're still on screen. Hi. Yeah, we've had a bit of a flea outbreak, so they have collars on. They've all been treated, but the treatment doesn't seem to be working as well as I remember it working. I don't remember the brand, some Advanix or something. So those are my 2 cast-ons, my 1 boring whip, and my finished object. And my cats, you've met both my cats. And I'm having a hard time keeping hair out of my face. And me, probably. Is there anything else I wanted to say about the Book Club Cardigan? Yes, there is. So I am part of a Book Club Cardigan Cal on Instagram. And I'll put a picture in over here of that because I don't remember any of the information. But if you want to join, I believe it goes till August. Which when I first joined, I was like, there's no way I finish in August. And there's no way I finish in August. I was like, hey, can you not scratch my furniture? There's no way I finish in August. I'm not that fast of a knitter. Even though I'm very proud. I'm very surprised with how much that I was able to knit in a short amount of time. I always want to knit this. This is my go-to. This is what I want to knit over my other 2 projects. But it isn't super portable, like I said, because I always have to refer to the chart. It's something I kind of have to do actively like pay attention to it. I can do it while watching TV or movies because I only need to refer to the pattern every once in a while. So, and I'm cabling without a cable needle. I didn't even talk about that. I'm cabling without a cable needle. I always heard about that, and I did not understand what that meant. So what I thought cabling without a cable needle meant was that you like take the, say if you pull, how do you say that? You cable two, slip two in front. So I thought you would just take those two off your needle and let them dangle and then knit the other two and then try to pick up those little loops after you've already knitted them and they're like pulling through and dropping. And I was like, whoa, that sounds like an anxiety attack. No, thank you. That is not what it meant. What cabling without a cable needle means, and everyone's probably like, yeah, we know, is you take all your stitches off your needle and then you, what is the word? Will you reorganize them in the correct way that they will be knitted in the cable. And that is not that bad. That is not that bad. I've heard that it's worse with a larger cable. So these cables are in 4-stitch sections, so it's no big deal to pop 4 stitches on your needle, readjust them, and then put them back on and then knit them. But I think if you had like 8 stitches or a larger number to do without a cable needle, that would be harder. But for this project, it's no big deal. So that's one less thing I have to worry about is having a cable needle around. And that's life-changing. I mean, I've only ever knit one other thing with cables, but I am really enjoying this project, and there's just one less thing to have to be nervous or anxious about. There's other parts of this project that I have never done as a knitter, so I'm anxious about them, but cabling without a cable needle is not one of them. And if you've never tried it from a girl who is anxious, it's not that bad. You should try it. This yarn is a really nice worsted bouncy yarn. You're not going to be able to see that, but she's great. So it's great for cabling without a cable needle. You better not be licking your butt behind me right now. Nobody wants to see that, and that's happened before. So as far as acquisitions go today, I don't really have a lot of knitting acquisitions just because I am really committed to this book club cardigan, and I think it will take me, it's going to hold my interest, and I really need to finish that scarf number 4 before I want to cast something else on. Otherwise, I'm going to lose steam on it, and I'm not going to finish it anytime soon. So between the 3 projects, I'm pretty happy, and I don't feel like I need another project, and I'm not really thinking about it. But I do have some summer plans, like some things I'd like to knit this summer, and I'm going to be posting a video about that. So subscribe. It's a little plug if you want to watch that. So, but as far as acquisitions go, I do have one big acquisition. Well, I don't know if you would call it, I don't even know. But I would like to, so I am a quilter, and I have quilted some quilts. Thank you, Natalie, for giving us the definition of what a quilter is. So I'm a quilter, and it's been a while though since I think my last quilt was not 2020. I think it might have been 2022 because I have my pandemic quilt that I made. These are all throw size quilts. And then I made a Christmas quilt, and that was my last quilt that I made. And I think that was 2022 because I only used the quilt 1 or 2 times during Christmas because it's a Christmas quilt. So what was I saying about that? Let me put this on you. I want to start sewing my own clothes. I've been incredibly inspired by a couple of people, ladies here on YouTube who have podcasts, and that is the Young Folk Knit, Brooke Willow, and then Marlene Knits have all been talking about sewing their own garments. And I think I just always assumed that I didn't have the time, And then as I was catching up, after I got back from Italy, I was catching up with all my favorite YouTube podcasters, recent episodes, and a lot of them are sewing garments right now because it's summer and it's, knitting is not it's not the season for knitting a wool sweater. And watching those videos and watching them talk about how quick it is to make garments just really got me interested in, like, I don't know, I've always wanted to. And I hold on to some items that I love, like a pair of pants, for example, that fit really well, but they're old. And I'm like, I love these. In my mind, I'm like, I want to make these because they're simple or whatever. So I don't think I'll do that. I mean, I'm not going to like self-draft something right away, but I don't know. I guess I've just been really inspired to do that. And especially not talking. I'm like, yeah, I talk to these podcasters. You know, when you listen to a podcast, that somehow I feel like you were talking to them while listening to I think it was Brooke Willow talking about how, I don't know, was it? How like the worst part about sewing is setting up your sewing machine and getting it to work. So I sew on a really old singer, like one of those black metal singers. And that is because it was my great grandma's, and because I am a person who loves old nostalgic stuff. I mean, you can tell by the piano behind me. Everything that I have, if I can get like an old version of it, I will hold on to it, I guess. Is that what I'm trying to say? I like old stuff. I like antiques. And so I just feel like newer sewing machines have a shorter lifespan. This sewing machine has lasted a long time. And you just service it. I mean, it's made out of metal. Like, nothing's going to go wrong with that. I guess it could rust. But it hasn't. And it's in good working condition. I had it serviced in 2022. And that's my question is I didn't sew a lot with it since I've had it serviced, but it's been a while, and I don't know if I need to have it serviced again because I was fiddling with it. I helped a friend make I forget the name of it, but it's like a traditional Hawaiian skirt for her hula dances that she does. She's Hawaiian. And I had a really hard time getting my stitches right because the bobbin, something was going on. So, and that's typical. That happens when you're sewing. And it's usually like, okay, the machine needs to be oiled, the machine needs to be dusted. And I did all the things and I tried adjusting the tension and I just wasn't able to fix it and I got frustrated and we finished the project somehow. And so now I'm wondering if I need to have it serviced or not. So, wow, long story short, I would like to start sewing. And so that's my goal from here until I talk to you next time, is to figure out what's going on with my sewing machine, and then maybe to order some patterns. And I have made garments, like I think when I was in high school, I made a couple of garments, and this was before, when I was in high school, this is before you could like really order things online. I mean, you could, but it wasn't like now. And so I think back then I never knew you could order a pattern online. You just go to Joann's. So there's good and bad to that. I mean, there's so many patterns online and you can really find like perfect items for you. But what I need to do is find patterns that are meant for noobs, beginners like me. And I would really like to print my patterns and not have to print them at home because that sounds horrible. But I know there's some resources. I know Young Folk Knit has talked about, and I think Andrea Mowry's channel, she talked about like how to have your patterns printed. So I'm going to have to do a deep dive and figure that all out and find a couple patterns for me to start with. And I'll keep you updated on that journey. So we will see. And I guess it's not another acquisition, but I feel like I talked about in my last episode that I was kind of in a reading slump. And I think I'm over it because I'm reading again. I read a book for my book club. This is How You End the Time War. And then I read Landline. Or I listened to both of those on audiobooks really fast. And it just kind of got me And then I just started The Vampires of El Norte. You can follow me on Goodreads. I am BookCheek on Goodreads. And then I just started The Unmaking of June Furrow. This is a library book, so sorry to blind you with the, oh my God, The Unmaking of June Furrow. And then my book club ended up picking this for next month. So that's just, things are aligning. And this book, actually, I was recommended by Morgan Unraveled. She's a podcaster on YouTube who talks about knitting and reading, and that is just my two favorite things. Taylor, I forget her last name. Taylor from the Wool Needle Tans also just came out with a podcast all about books. And she read The Vampires of El Norte and then dyed color collections for that, which look beautiful. I love her yarn, especially the new stuff she's doing, like the Born, Sheared, and Raised Nevada wool. I love the concept, and I love non-superwash wools. So I would love to get my hands on some of that. So anyways, she recommended or had read that book, The Vampires of El Norte, and I started listening to that one, and I'm enjoying it so far. But yeah, I guess so. My reading mojo's back. I realized as someone with anxiety, laying awake at night, I was kind of thinking about, like in my last video that I was talking about, oh my God, I'm not reading nearly as much as I normally do, and I don't know, I just felt like not that I shouldn't have said that, but with the context of how much I read, I don't know, I feel like I'm somebody who usually reads a lot, and so, but for me to come on here and be like, oh no, I'm not reading that much, and then throw out a number, and then that number might be more than you're reading because I read a lot, that I shouldn't have said it like that. I don't know what I'm saying. I guess what I'm saying is don't compare like how much you read to other people, because I mean I don't do that. There are definitely people who read more than me, and I don't feel bad. Like I'm trying not to hit a number at the end of the year, because that's not enjoyable. And I would rather read less, better quality, not like quality, but better, like more enjoyable books that I enjoyed more than to hit like an arbitrary number like 100, which I've never done, but I've always tried and I've never been successful. Try to read 100 books in a year, and then like 30 of them were absolutely drags, and I just had to like get through it because I was already halfway there and I wasn't going to throw that away so I could get to a number. All to be said, it's satisfying to DNF a book, did not finish, if you don't know what that means. It's okay to do it. I do it all the time. I actually did do that with This Is How You Lose the Time War like last year, and then my book club picked it, and so I did read it. And I think that if it wasn't in my book club, I would have DNF'd it again. I liked it, but This Is How You Lose the Time War, I thought it was going to be a science fiction book, which is like my favorite genre of books, and I just felt like I was bamboozled into reading a romantic poetry book. I listened to it and I feel like I need to go back and actually read it because it's super, like, I feel like it needs to be a really interactive read. Like I need to look things up, and you need to read it slow. You need to digest, because it does not spoon feed you the science fiction parts of it. It just throws it at you. No explanation, no context, nothing. So I would really like to read it again because I can tell that it's good and it's really well written, but I just didn't enjoy it as much as I think I could have if I would have digested it more. And now that I know, okay, I'm not going to get a bunch of world building science fiction out of this book, I think I would enjoy it. And it's like 200 something pages, so it's no big deal, you know. Well, I've been rambling. If you're new here, I hope you're still here to stay. Like I said, I'm going to film another video for my summer items that I would like to knit. So if you want to make sure not to miss that, then subscribe. And if you want to say hi to me, you can say hi to me over on Instagram, which I am taking a little bit of an Instagram break for mental health reasons. It's good to do that sometimes. I don't know. I do this every once in a while where I'll delete my Instagram app for a week or two and then get back on there. And I'd like to get back on there because I'm in that knitting cow and I want to be able to comment, but it's just I needed to do it. And that was a really weird ramble, but still say hi to me on Instagram, KnitCheek, and I'll have a pleasant surprise when I get back to Instagram. So that's all the things. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And PJs! I also feel like I'm really bad at saying goodbye, so I'm just gonna do it. Wait, where'd you go?